I am sorry.
That's not why you went to jail.
But that's bullshit.
That's not why
He went to jail. I'll tell you why he went to jail. Because he knows the law like I do, and like all of our family does. And you guys, the way the school teaches you, don't like to hear the truth. And it happens every time you use the obstruction.
I'm trying to give you the chance. I'm trying to give you the chance to walk away now. If
And
not,
I'm telling
you
you,
are
I'm
going to go to
willing
jail.
for you to put those handcuffs on me and take me to jail with you because I will sue you and take your bond number and everything.
You are not going to stand over my shoulder while I'm doing my investigation, okay?
Are you serious right now?
I am dead serious.
Can I get your bond number and I'll walk away? I'll walk away
what?
if you can give me your bond number and name.
Bond number?
And name.
What's a bond number?
I'm
just trying to clarify,
everybody
what's a
works
bond
for the
number?
state has a bond number.
No, bond number's when you go to jail. I've never been to jail.
No.
Are you asking for a badge
you are
number?
right. You are right.
Yeah, are you asking for a badge number? Is that the word you were looking for? No, they do not.
Yes, they do.
Bond is when you get said when you go to jail. Everyone has a social security number. Everyone.
You're also right on that, but...
So, yeah, and everyone in class is like, she's lucky. She's not in handcuffs. Showing up to a traffic stop when someone called you and said, head this way, and you show up, and they've asked you many times to leave or you're going to be arrested for obstruction, and her speech does seem a bit slurred. Nothing wrong with that. Driving to someone's traffic stop, right, that changes it. Right, she's lucky she's not already in handcuffs. A lot of people in class are saying that they're being really nice with her.
Okay.
And China owns
You don't say that?
You need to walk away.
Can I at least get your name?
I am Deputy Justice, and my badge number, or sorry, we don't have badge numbers, we have unit numbers.
Oh, there's no longer bad.
No, 3. Yes, ma'am.
And Deputy what?
3-3.
Deputy Justice?
Deputy Justice number 3-3. That's
Deputy
awesome.
Justice, how poetic. It never ceases to amaze me that people, grown adults, could be so incredibly wrong, willing to get tased, get dragged out of a car, and go to jail and be wrong. If you know someone, and I hope you don't, know someone who would fall down this rabbit hole and willing to get arrested for whatever obstruction.
We have some numbers
charges
people's
this
in
person
class
likely
that
incurred,
33
send these
lately.
to them, because this has got to stop at
I
some
don't
point. It's a
know. It's
no-win
interesting.
situation. I have never, ever seen it work. Like the video. Subscribe to the Sergeant Curtis channel. And watch
11.
some of the videos in the archive. There's over 100 different videos in the archive that you can enjoy and learn more about
4.
policing. And please, in the comment section, write your thoughts about how this arrest went.
In the back of the grocery store and then loaded onto the shelf where you bought it. And even farmer's market, you've got schmutz that you actually want to wash it off. 60 seconds of cold running water will actually take care of most of the stuff. And according to USDA guidelines, that will actually make the food, wash the bacteria off of most of the food as well. Okay? Most foods will have had some contact with plastic somewhere along the point from when they were in the field to your plate. So this is your opportunity to clean it off. And by the way, avoid storing or even buying your food in plastic, right? So skip the plastic bags that are in the produce section. Instead, buy a reusable cloth bag that you can bring back. It's also more sustainable, better for the environment, rather than keeping on buying plastic and throwing the plastic away, right? That's going to wind up somewhere that we don't want it to wind up, and some of it's going to wind up in your body. Get a cloth bag, reuse it. It's better for the planet and going to be better for your body. Another thing to avoid is ditch those plastic food storage containers. I used to have them all over the house. I grew up with them. You know, my mom would actually say, oh my gosh, this is so convenient for us to store. Inexpensive, lightweight, strong, colorful, stacked easily. You know what? That was then, this is now. We now know that plastic storage food containers will shed the plastic right into the food. Now the lid is actually okay, so what I say is get a glass bowl, Pyrex bowl, or metal, and then a plastic top is fine, all right, as long as it's not like contacting the food, all right? So those are things that you should actually think about. What about foods that you bring home that are thin skinned, like apples or cucumbers, for example? You know what? If you have a soft brush, all right, not a plastic brush, but like with bristles, all right, or made with bamboo, like they have these bamboo scrapers. Rinse them, brush them off, and then dry them with a clean, real cloth towel, not one of those plastic microfiber towels. real cotton towel. All right, so these are things that we didn't really used to think about much, but in the old days, like parents when they were kids and grandparents, they always dried things with a towel. All right, and they probably washed their food as well, and they didn't have the plastic to store them in. All right, so listen, it's frankly impossible to avoid all microplastics because where you can breathe them in the air. Remember I told you tires turns out to be from the road spinning around, just flaking off plastic everywhere. Turns out to be one of the biggest sources of microplastic, and we just inhale it. But every step you can take knowingly about the way you buy your food, the way you wash your food, the way you store your food, okay, and the containers and the cookware, right? Don't be cooking your food with a plastic spatula. Get wood, get metal. All right, every step you can take will reduce your exposure, and that can make a difference over time. Now, let's talk about some really cool things that have been discovered, because now we're onto microplastics. We're also trying to figure out ways of actually getting rid of microplastics. So researchers have actually looked at how you can get rid of microplastics that are in your food. You can't get rid of them, right? So what happens if they're in a food and you're eating them? Is there something we could eat along with the food that could actually help prevent the microplastics from getting into our blood vessels? The answer is yes. And you know what that something is? That can help lower microplastics being absorbed into your body. It's something you should be eating anyway. It is dietary fiber. Dietary fiber is good for us because, number one, it keeps your bowels moving so you're more regular. Number two, and this is the more important reason, dietary fiber feeds our healthy gut bacteria. Good gut health is very important. And when the bacteria are well fed, they release substances called short-chain fatty acids into our bloodstream that lowers inflammation, improves our brain health, improves our metabolism, and helps us heal faster as well. Okay, so dietary fiber, should be eating that anyway, but here's another reason. Now we're beginning to discover that dietary fiber, which also, by the way, I forgot to mention, lowers cholesterol. That new research from Henan University in China suggests that eating dietary fiber can flush out microplastics. Pretty cool, all right? So I told you about the problem, and here is a potential solution. So there are ways that dietary fiber, can help your body get rid of microplastics. 3 different ways. Number one, fiber, when you're eating it, actually binds to microplastics that are already inside your gut, right? So you're eating regular food, you're going to be eating some plastic. You eat food with dietary fiber, that the fiber from the food will stick to the microplastics so they don't get absorbed.
He taught you to treat others with respect, and that
Number one. Number two, dietary fiber will strengthen the lining of your gut. So think of your gut as a tube, all right, like a big garden hose. That's your gut, all right, about 40 feet of it from your mouth to your anus. And your gut is a tube, and the lining of that tube has to be really strong, right? Now, if your lining is not strong, okay, you got holes opening up in the lining of the gut, and then the stuff on the inside comes out. That's called leaky gut. Pretty common, actually. You know, leaky gut syndrome, more common than we thought. As a doctor, I can tell you we were not really taught about this in medical school. Now we're realizing it actually is pretty common. That lining is pretty sensitive, and guess what? Dietary fiber strengthens that lining, tightens it up. Less leaky gut, less likely any microplastics in your food that's in your gut are going to just dissolve out. So the fiber binds to the microplastics and just keeps it going, moving down so you can get rid of it, poop it out. It tightens the lining of the gut so it's stronger, so you've got less leakiness of the gut where microplastics can leak out. And the third thing is that the fiber will feed the bacteria, and that bacteria will actually help your body counter any plastics that do get into your bloodstream, right? And the plastics can cause inflammation, as I mentioned to you, and well-fed gut bacteria from dietary fiber will lower that inflammation. So If any microplastics are causing a problem, your dietary fiber will feed your gut microbiome, which will then counter the inflammation, right? So fiber blocks, removes, and protects, okay, against microplastics. It's really another reason that you should be eating more dietary fiber. Here are some pro tips from me on how you can protect yourself against microplastics based on what I told you so far. Number one, eat a diet that is very fiber rich, all right? Fruits, vegetables, mushrooms got dietary fiber, avocados got dietary fiber, legumes, white beans, black beans, kidney beans, they all have dietary fibers, chickpeas, lentils, good sorts of dietary fiber. Whole grains, okay, and lots of reasons whole grains are good for you. Dietary fiber is one of them. And now here's another reason it can actually help to protect you against the harms of microplastics. Nuts and seeds, you know, tree nuts, walnuts, pecans, almonds, pistachios, macadamia, all those types of tree nuts, Brazil nuts. The dietary fiber protects you against microplastics, among other beneficial things they're doing, all right? And then soluble fiber that you would find in oats, flax seeds, lentils, apples, day-old rice after you refrigerate it, baked potatoes, after you refrigerate them, you're all turning regular starch into resistant starch, which then feeds the gut microbiome. They are effective at binding the toxins, including dietary fiber. Another thing that you can do is to stay hydrated. I always tell people to stay hydrated. Water is, our body is made of anywhere from 50 to 70% water. You want to stay very, very well hydrated, okay? And guess what? Fiber that protects you works best from your diet when you have enough hydration, because hydration keeps things moving smoothly. All right, keeps your blood flowing smoothly. So you want to stay hydrated. Get a water filter because you want to make sure your water is actually clean, or find a really clean source of water. And you want to get dietary fiber. It's best to get it from food, and it's best to mix it up because your body, your gut bacteria, they like to have different kinds of dietary fiber, not just the same source every single time. So you can take a supplement that has fiber in it, all right? But it's much better to mix it up, and it's better for your body anyway. Foods that are very diverse help your gut microbiome, which then lowers inflammation, which is a way to counter any inflammation that microplastics will cause. So let me just kind of give you a little recap of all the stuff we talked about in this video. First, microplastics. Avoid them because they can get in the body, and now they've been discovered in the brain, the human brain, all right? You can avoid them by avoiding plastic containers, plastic bags, plastic bottles, plastic cooking utensils, plastic plates, plastic cups, right? You go to the ball game, go to a party, go and then think about all those red plastic cups and avoid that, all right? Eat more fiber to help flush out any microplastics that are going to be in your food anyway. You can't avoid it, but you can lower the risk. And then when it comes to heavy metals, cadmium, lead, arsenic, mercury in your water, try steeping some tea, and you can actually drink the tea and get the beneficial polyphenols, lowering inflammation, improving your metabolism, cutting off blood supplies, starving cancers, all that stuff. Better for brain health, good for gut health as well. And now here's another reason to drink tea. It actually, steeping tea, black tea, powdered tea, or in a cellulose bag can actually bind away, take out of the water, heavy metals. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and then share the video with somebody that you know. Get them to subscribe so we can actually all get this information out. This is practical information that can benefit our health. These are simple steps that we can take. That's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Dr. Lee out. Hey, if you like that video, then you're going to love this one. Check it out.
not like the light of consciousness on them. Even the pain body, your pain body, does not like to be recognized. Yes, we haven't spoken about the pain body yet. So, well, you all know what this term refers to.
Let's get my good side. Oh, wait, get my good side.
Accumulated emotional pain that you carry forward from your childhood, usually, perhaps also from past lifetimes. If you believe in past lifetimes, if you don't like past lifetimes, forget about it. Carried over in from childhood, and it is partly personal because it's to do with your early life experience, which for everybody is somewhat painful, and for some much more than for others. And you also absorb pain body from the collective into which you're born, which could be the country or the energy field or a particular area in your country, whatever it may be. You also absorb that, so there's a personal aspect to the emotional pain that lives in you, and there's a collective aspect. And the pain body, just a very, very brief summary, the pain body is not necessarily, in most cases, always active. It has a dormant stage and an active stage. When it's dormant, you may not even know it's there. And periodically, the tendency is for the pain body to need to feed on further experience of something emotionally painful. So, because that is what corresponds to the vibrational frequency of this energetic entity, because that's what it is. Emotion is an energy form. It's consciousness. Everything is consciousness. Consciousness had taken on a particular form. An emotion is a form, a temporary form that consciousness is born into, assumes. And what childhood pain, emotional pain, usually leaves behind remnants of that particular emotion. It's not completely released. So by the time you are 18 or 20 years old, you carry a pain body. And for some humans it's a very heavy thing. For others it's not too bad. The pain body periodically needs to feed on the experience of emotional pain. In other words, it wants emotional pain, it needs emotional pain, and it creates emotional pain primarily in two ways. Either it creates drama with people close to you, so that they you get negativity coming back at you, and then you can have the drama in relationships. Favorite place for pain body to renew itself is intimate relationships. That's the best. You get the best food in intimate relationships, and it will create drama and push the buttons. It has a borrowed intelligence. It has its own little intelligence, and it is cunning. It's a little like a gremlin kind of, and it knows your partner's weak points, and it'll touch upon them in order to provoke them into reacting with drama. And usually it works, because then when you press the correct buttons, you awaken the other person's pain body. It goes, oh, great, I'm here too. And so at that moment you don't want to let go of it. If your therapist at that moment rang you and said, do you want to be in this drama, or do you want to be free? You would get very angry, because you wouldn't be talking, the pain body would be talking through you, and you'd be saying, get away from me, this is not about pain bodies, this is serious stuff, I don't want to hear what you have to say, leave me alone with that nonsense, pain body. The pain body does not like to be recognized, because that means the light of consciousness is shining on it. Now, what do you do if you don't have an intimate relationship? That gets a bit more difficult. How can you renew? Oh, the pain body says, that's okay, I have the perfect solution. When I need to feed, I will rise up into your mind and I will control your thinking. And every thought will be a negative thought about yourself, about other people, about life in general, or about politics, a deeply negative thought, and then it becomes, the thought is not just one thought, it's addictive thinking, addicted to negative thinking. How my life is so awful, or this person is so awful, or this is absolutely dreadful. Whether it's predominantly anger, predominantly self-pity, or whining, or shouting, whatever it is, you are trapped in a cycle of negative thinking, continuously feeds, because thought is energy too. Everything is thought. Again is a form, that every thought is a form that consciousness has taken, temporary form. It's a little entity, every thought, and that gives energy. The pain body gobbles it up. It loves your negative thinking, because the more negative thinking, the stronger it gets again. But after a while, it's had enough. It's like a big meal, then you can't eat anymore. And then suddenly it goes back to sleep and you feel, oh, what was all that about? And sometimes if it's in a relationship, you make up. So then suddenly everything is fine again, and it's like you both wake up out of some kind of weird nightmare. But the strange thing is, this weird nightmare happens every 2 weeks, or 3, or every once a week, who knows? Maybe once a month, or every 3 months. It varies a lot. But it comes again and again. And until you begin to recognize it for what it is, then the awareness comes in. Once you recognize it, it can no longer, first of all, it can no longer use your mind to renew itself, because you recognize it directly. So there it is, I can feel the emotional pain. And then you may be able not to be totally controlled by it when it tries to create new drama in the relationship again, or your partner. It arises in your partner, and you can clearly see that some dark energy comes. Some dark energy comes into him or her, and suddenly it's bad. If you see it for the first time, after getting married, you start living together, and then for the first time you see in your partner the pain body. For many people, that is the first time when they question whether they've chosen the right person. Wow. Now, another strange thing about the pain body, it is a vibrational entity. It can sometimes attract, because there are entities floating around in this universe that we cannot see. There's a vast amount of things that we cannot see. Our senses are very limited. So there are entities whose vibrational frequency corresponds to the frequency of the pain body. A bit like what you can see. It's like in the reality that you can see with your senses. It could be compared to perhaps vermin, as we call it, rats, a rat infestation in your house, or cockroaches. So there are psychic correspondent, a bit like cockroaches or rats in the unseen realms, that can sometimes be attracted by strong pain bodies. And when that happens, the pain body gets, so they cling to your pain body, almost merge with it, and then the pain body can be incredibly heavy and become really dangerous. And usually it happens to people who are either very, very unconscious, or people who are addicted to drugs, which lowers very much your consciousness, or alcoholics, lowers very much your consciousness, or have some deficiency in their mind. So it happens to them that their pain body attracts other entities to them, and then they could perpetrate most dreadful crimes. And often it's sometimes again, they are not always in the grip of it, but it's there, it's latent, it's waiting. And sometimes people who know these people, they say, how could he have done this? I know him, he's a nice guy. How could he have killed and dismembered 6 people? What? He was such a nice person. I was at school with him. What they didn't see was his pain body. and when his wife might have seen it. I don't know if she's still alive. So it is possible that some entities cling to your pain body, and as you bring more consciousness to it, which simply means to be aware of it, then whether or not your pain body, whether there are other entities that have come, then it might be not as bad as those entities that lead somebody to commit dreadful crimes, but little things, little bugs, unseen bugs can come in, and it is quite possible in your case. Now we finally come to your question. That as you become more conscious and direct consciousness, then the pain body, it would be hard for these entities to continue to cling to your pain body, especially if they're not overpowering, which in your case is not. I can see that's not. You're not going to kill and dismember a few people. So these are not overpowering entities. They are little things that cling to your pain body, but if left unattended, it could get worse. But it's because you're growing in awareness. I believe that's the explanation, but I don't know if that is the explanation. But it seems to me that it is. That these things do not like the light of consciousness on them. Even the pain body, your pain body, does not like to be recognized, because it knows when you identify it and you can feel it, you put your attention on it. It doesn't like your attention, because it then cannot use your mind anymore. So if you put your attention on it, there may be things that suddenly, oh, I can't stand this anymore, this person is becoming too conscious. Things leave, the pain body becomes lighter. So the pain body can even, I told a story, and I believe in New Earth, when I saw somebody for counseling session, and we had a wonderful release of this person's pain body. It was like a big chunk went, and I don't know where it went, but it went up into the air. There's similar stories in the Gospels too. But it's not called pain body in the Gospels, of course. There it sounds more ominous. He was carrying an evil spirit. And then when Jesus came and said, "What is this?" the evil spirit fled and says, "Leave me alone, I can't stand your presence anymore." This is my paraphrase. So the pain body transmutation then happens, because the pain body is energy, is trapped energy, that by focusing on it, the energy becomes freed. And I compare it to you could say the flame of awareness, or the flame of consciousness. This energy becomes then part of your presence. It's transmuted into presence, and it assumes a higher frequency. It's consciousness too, and it becomes presence. It's a bit like, you could say, if you have a piece of ice, and the ice is very hard, and you can.
Chewy has everything for every animal. From fish treats and parakeet retreats to hedgehog homes and guinea pigs.
You could kill somebody with a piece of ice, but when it gets transmuted, it becomes soft and fluid. And when it gets transmuted even more, it becomes vapor. You can't even see it anymore. And that's a bit like consciousness manifesting in different forms. For so-called inanimate matter would be a consciousness that is totally asleep, or almost totally asleep, and then gradually you have different degrees of awakening of consciousness in different life forms: plant life, animal life, human life, and then awakened human life. So all you need to continue to do is to be aware of it, especially when it arises, and be aware of it when it's there in relationship. Does it use your mind still? Be very alert so that the emotion does not rise up into your mind and you start thinking negative thoughts. When this happens, immediately know what's happening. When you love your negativity, then you don't really love it, but your pain body loves it. So it's a wonderful, pain body is a great teaching, and it's a great thing it's often people with heavier pain bodies that have a more powerful incentive to awaken spiritually than people with a relatively mild pain body. However, one cannot generalize too much, but there's a tendency for people it's like you're in a nightmare. If you're in a nightmare, your motivation to awaken is greater than if you're in a relatively pleasant dream. It's not that great, but it's okay. But if you're facing a monster, then you really want to awaken.
My eyes beheld an eerie sight, for my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. He did the monster mash, from my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast. The ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrodes. They did the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. They did the monster mash. The zombies